What fact is ignored generously? Being at a job for a long time does not mean someone is good at their job. Co-worker of mine used to say there is 10 years of experience and then there is 1 year of experience repeated 10 times. My former boss had been in his job for 12 years. That dude was checked the duck out and somehow kept getting promoted just in time to make him stick around. Plus, he was too unmotivated to leave and just got complacent. He was a terrible boss, but when it really clicked for me was when I sat down for my yearly review, where I had been anticipating a promotion, and he said, "To be honest with you, I just didn't do this. I thought it was a waste of time." I went to his boss to alert him of the fact that my boss was not managing me effectively, and his response was sounds like you should talk to him about that, not me. Then it suddenly became clear that all these people who had so much experience and time in their roles were really just using it as a shield or armor to not do a single thing. So yeah, time in a role means nothing. Human memory is extremely unreliable. We forget important details. We fabricate memories and convince ourselves that they're true. What we do remember is distorted to conform to our biases. When I was 5, my parents surprised my older sister and I with a trip to Disneyland really early in the morning before our flight. For years I had this memory of it happening and being so excited. They videotaped the whole thing, but we had lost the video for years. When we found it, I saw that I was actually asleep the whole time. I had completely made up the memory based on my sister and parents talking about it. I have terrible memory. I have friends I've known since childhood who will bring up things they all remember, and it's just blank for me. My husband bring up something from when we were dating, and he'll have no idea what he's talking about. I found the majority of my memories revolve around photographs. And because of that, my memories often feel like third person. Memories are extremely unreliable, it's scary. Prevention is more affordable than treatment. Dubiously related, every time the medical field finds a way to treat a condition, it just opens up the road to a harder to treat, more expensive condition. Edit, dubious. Just because I don't agree with you doesn't mean I hate you. And conversely, just because I agree with you doesn't mean I like you. Abso-freaking-lutely. Very sick of people calling others haters or phobic, or whatever because they disagree with them, over anything. Admitting to a mistake is not a sign of weakness. Bending over backwards to cover it up and pretending like it never happened is. It's in your best interests too. If you don't own your mistakes, others will and may use them against you. The problem is, and this is very relevant to corporate life, when you accept a mistake you are very quickly thrown under the bus by the a-holes who are looking for a scapegoat. The number of people who die after a war to consequences of war, hunger, disease, etc. are not counted in the statistics. Sometimes many times more as well. A large battle can kill tens of thousands, wars many times that, but disease can absolutely wreck countries. As an example of an underrated disease, the plague of Justinian is estimated to have killed 30 to 50 million people in a time when the human population was 100 million. No war, no matter how brutal, maybe except nuclear, can kill 30-50% of humanity. Talking for France here, some people who died between the 9th and the 11th of November 1918 were not counted as dead these days, because that would be quite awful for a family to learn that your husband/brother/son/father died the last day before the war stopped. Humans overestimate what they can do in a day and underestimate what we can achieve in a year. Facts. Probably because humans can't imagine time. Like imagine the entire next 10 seconds in full. You can't. You get picture of moments, but you can't imagine a time frame. So if 10 seconds are impossible to imagine, imagine over 10,000 packets for those at once for a year. It's impossible. You are not immune to propaganda. Fun word fact. The term propaganda originally referred to a Catholic Church committee for propagating the faith during the Counter-Reformation. This comment was brought to you by Big Etymology. Most people seem to think that free press equals no propaganda or no biased views, although free press is 1,000 times better than state-controlled fundamentally biased propaganda media. It is still flawed. That we all have confirmation bias. In my studies I found that I do not. Oh wait. This annoys me so much, because I'm a scientist, and so many scientists will act on their biases thinking they're being completely rational, and have trouble mixing subjective opinions with facts, especially when people are involved. Edit. People are focusing on the scientific results angle. While this is definitely a party of it, I will also highlight the extensive issues in how science is done resulting to how minorities are treated in STEM, and how many argue these are not due to biases by scientists, as if they are not capable of having them. That just because someone tells you something is a fact doesn't mean that it is. Make sure to do your research. I'll take your word for it. Mob mentality doesn't mean you are right. This needs to be higher. Will solve 85% of the world's problems. Edit. No. What have I done? Further edit. What's the opposite of an award? I should get that. Take notes. Reddit. Just because it's legally allowed doesn't mean you're not a douchebag for doing it. Example, free speech isn't freedom from consequence. You legally can say, "Nah, whatever you want." Doesn't mean people won't call you a Rick for it. Everyone is a huge hypocrite when it suits them. Including me. The irony of this statement is that, if you're ever in a situation where being a hypocrite would suit you, but you aren't a hypocrite, then you are a hypocrite, because you said you would be but weren't. Just because some people are naturally talented doesn't mean you shouldn't work hard. Hard work can beat talent when talent doesn't work hard, as my undergrad advisor was fond of saying. The importance of getting 7-9 hours of sleep every single night. To add to this, 7 to 9 hours of sleep is not the same as a 7 to 9 hour sleep opportunity window. If you're giving yourself a 7-hour sleep opportunity window, you are not getting 7 hours of sleep. Probably more like 6. The only people who generously ignore this fact are schools. Most people are not very smart, and even the smart ones are dumb sometimes. I'm a lawyer. I have to frequently interact with people way outside my usual social circles. Jesus Christ, the bottom quarter of people are so ducking stupid I'm at a loss for words. Giving birth to a kid doesn't make you an expert on raising them, nor do they owe you for being born. A lot of people need to realize this. Also, we don't owe the parents. I don't mean our own. I mean Karen who shares that post of moms deserve to be first in line at Starbucks cause you just had to do homework last night while I had to put screaming kids to bed. It's not our fault you got pregnant. Wait in line like everyone else. TikTok is literally Chinese spyware, but at the same time, Mail and Facebook are pretty much American spyware. I tell people this and they laugh. Older doesn't always mean wiser. Wisdom is obtained from what you do with your time. It's not about how much time you've had. Just remember, stupid people get old too. Every single year, cruise ships dump 14 billion pounds of garbage into the oceans. Probably not this year. Just saying. We may see the end of that industry altogether if we are lucky. Bill Burr's idea of sinking these sounds better and better. You have blinkers for your car so that you can tell other drivers that you're changing lanes. Fun fact, it's the law, and you need to put them on before you start to move lanes. Facts aren't opinions. I wish I could upvote this a million times. I'm getting really sick and tired of people who argue 2 points, where one is arguing from evidence-based facts, the other is arguing from a YouTube conspiracy video, and the second tries to take the high road with, "You have your opinion, I have mine." No, you ducking window licker. Person A has facts, you have idiocy. You aren't supposed to stick Q-tips in your ears. You can't stop me. I'm a doctor. I see stupid shiz like ruptured eardrums from Q-tip use frequently enough. I will never stop sticking Q-tips all the way in there. Human nature's a bitch. Animals are much more brutal than people realize. We only see the cute cuddly side on the internet. Cheetah makes friends with a goat, gets more views than warthog gets eaten alive by lions and lasts a surprisingly long time while it's happening. Animals will eat you alive if they don't think you're a threat to injury. It's out of survival. Something bigger and badder might come along, and they won't have eaten anything. No, the leopard didn't kill the animal before eating it out of compassion. It just didn't want to take a hoof to the head while it was having lunch. I watched 3 lionesses hunt a warthog and its piglet up close once. Two of the lionesses made themselves seen, while the third slid behind a small mound and snuck through the grass. The warthogs stayed focused on the two lions in the open. The hunter got within a few feet and crouched low, ready to strike. Something alerted the warthogs and they took off like a rocket. The lioness, being the queen of the savannah, rolled on her side and started licking her paw. Hugely disappointing. Edit. I did get one of my favorite pictures during this experience. I've seen a bull's testicles being ripped out by hyenas while it's still alive. Nature is ducking brutal man. Concentration camps in China are still going on. This 12-minute BBC piece sums it all up very concisely. Oh, and they are supplanting the now imprisoned for thought crimes who are husbands/fathers with single, ethnically Han Chinese men in their own households. They are literally relocating the majority ethnicity to replace and wash out the minority culture and people. France didn't stop executing people by guillotine until 1977, and slavery wasn't legally considered a crime against humanity until 2001. Comparatively speaking, it was a humane way of executing people. Being well known doesn't always make you popular, as you may be well known for pissing yourself in clap. This really depends on how you define popular. Frequently encountered as one of the definitions of popular. Also, don't judge me for pissing in clap. In kindergarten there was a kid who pissed himself during lunch, forcing his mother to come and pick him up from school. The kid was crying out of embarrassment, and I remember his mother and the teacher assuring him that no one would remember it by next year. That was in 1992, and I still remember. Terrence. Alcohol is poison. Alcohol is the best poison. Everything is poison in the right dose. Wikipedia. The dose makes the poison. The dose makes the poison. Latin. Solidosis facit venenum is an adage intended to indicate a basic principle of toxicology. It is credited to Paracelsus, who expressed the classic toxicology maxim: all things are poison, and nothing is without poison. The dosage alone makes it so a thing is not a poison. This is often condensed to the dose makes the poison, or in Latin, solidosis facit venenum. It means that a substance can produce the harmful effect associated with its toxic properties only if it reaches a susceptible biological system within the body in a high enough concentration, i.e., dose. Being rich doesn't mean you're great with money or someone who should be trusted with business decisions, or smart. People love to assume that. And being rich doesn't mean you have clap. Never underestimate the power of stupid people in large groups. George Carlin. Great minds think alike, but fools rarely differ. A person is generally smart, but people are generally stupid. Depends on the agenda of the people doing the ignoring. People only care about the facts that agree with them. Edit. Thanks for the gift, kind stranger. That A plus B2 is not equal to A2 plus B2. As a geometry teacher, I feel this. My students all learned this last year and then promptly forgot it. Me, you need to multiply it out. Remember FOIL, student. Me, from last year, student. Me, demonstrates, like this, student. I have to do that every time. Me, yes. Forever and always. The rules of math have not changed since last year. Well, I probably didn't forget anything important to add. Orcas and dolphins aren't happy in those aquatic parks. Baffled that this isn't intuitive or obvious to most people. The majestic and spacious ocean, or a tiny tank surrounded by farty, loud creatures? You shouldn't have a child unless you are emotionally and financially ready and have a stable partner, which means never for most people, and to a lesser degree, pets. If you can't afford to feed and take care of a dog, cat, or whatever animal you want, you should not adopt said animal. Experience is not equal to competence. Most people over 20 already met a murderer at least once in their lifetime. I dated a murderer before I was even 20. Before he became a murderer, of course. Is this a statistical 6 degrees of separation type thing? How is this determined? The government is trying to pass an anti-encryption bill that could strip away any and all privacy given to US citizens. Depending on enforcement, it would also annihilate the economy of literally any country it was pardoned and completely cut it off from all international banking. That science can't prove a negative. Show that vaccines don't give autism? We have never found that they do in the many studies done, but you can't have positive proof for something negative. Astronomer here. Him getting a lot of messages lately about how a comet or asteroid is going to hit us, and coronavirus is a cover up for it. More than the usual conspiracy theories, I think people are bored at home and projecting existential dread on this stuff. These messages always lead to the person saying, but can you prove no asteroid is about to hit us? And I can't do that. None of the known ones do. Yes, but one could always come from the direction of the sun like the Russian meteorite a few years ago. I can always only explain about a specific object, or how you can't do a government cover up over an asteroid discovery, etc. But people now obsess over that incredibly tiny chance. I can't say it won't happen with 100% absolute certainty. It's frustrating because this is not a thing people should be worried about compared to our very real troubles right now, but you can tell they're worried that I can't say it 100% will never happen. That science can't prove a negative. Proof of impossibility is a thing. Some of the examples of proven negatives: Fermat's last theorem, Arrow's impossibility theorem, the impossibility of squaring a circle. Just because a movie or a book is good doesn't mean you like it. That's a good way to put it. You can appreciate that something is well written, good at engaging its target audience, etc. without actually liking the work yourself. There's a giant pedo ring in Hollywood going on, and has been going on for decades. Also, Jeffrey Epstein didn't kill himself. Edit. I should also clarify that it isn't just Hollywood. Also the rich and powerful in all places. What part of Hollywood isn't ducked up? People think of it as such a great place due to its written record, if you will, but there's quite a few things wrong there. That you should really get off your phone and go to sleep. Edit. Lol guys, I meant at night. But it's 4 PM and I have been sleeping until noon every day. That colds and flu are caused by viruses, not by being cold or wet. Yes. Though being cold and wet for a long time will suppress your immune system, making you more vulnerable to viruses. Being a celebrity does not automatically make someone a medical, economic, or political expert. Edited for phrasing, as too many people want to do Google digging to find celebs who actually do have degrees, as opposed to understanding what was implied in the original wording. Originally said celebrities aren't actually. Edited the second time to change actually to automatically. I like that. Thanks. Apparently, that you have to ducking stop at the big red sign that says stop in California. It's true, the California roll is a thing. Being obese is extremely unhealthy and shouldn't be celebrated. I think a lot of people misunderstand this movement. Fat people know that they're fat. They don't need to be shamed/reminded to realize it. They also know that being obese has negative health consequences. With that being said, fat people face a lot of medical discrimination, where their problems are ignored, and they are instead told they need to lose weight. It's less about saying that it's healthy, and more about saying that they are still people who deserve to be happy. As a society we dehumanize people who are obese, and constantly shaming them isn't going to help. It will also cut short your career growth, and you will be dependent on someone else in your old age. Going to college/university doesn't mean you are a genius. Adding to this, doing a trade or having a simple job in the workforce does not make you an idiot. If someone is smiling, that does not mean they are happy. The average person eats 3 spiders a year. Factoid is just a statistical error. The average person eats 0 spiders per year. However, spiders Giard who lives in cave and eats over 10,000 each day is an outlier and should not have been counted. The average human being has 1 testicle and 1 ovary. Just because someone has served in the armed forces doesn't mean they deserve respect or are a good person. I agree this applies to law enforcement officers in general too. Nearly every hand you shake has held a penis. We are born, fumble around for a few decades, and then we die. Maybe you fumble. I prefer to flail wildly. Quitting is often a good decision. That it is somehow okay for inconsiderate ducks to drop their damned cigarette butts on the ducking ground. Stop that, you nasty dastards. The world and its wildlife deserve better. Take care of your own trash. But, you lazy assholes. And if this is you, duck you. That nasty bacteria and such constantly enter our body. Like, when you smell that someone took a cheers, think about what you are inhaling at that moment. Not necessarily inhaling bacteria when you smell someone's fart, but yes, you are inhaling gas that was just previously inside that person's rectum. That the two-party system is inefficient and doesn't effectively represent the American population. Dogs and wolves are genetically 99.9% identical. You practically have a very well-mannered wolf sleeping at the foot of your bed every night. Bold of you to warn my wolf is well-mannered. That ball of fluff is the ultimate narcissist. And a banana and octopus are 97%. What's your point? 5G does not cause COVID-19. People spend the majority of their life chasing money without understanding how it works. Trickle-down economics is bullshit. There are thousands of economic theories on every aspect of economics, and no economist has ever written down a trickle-down theory. Check Thomas Sowell's challenge to people who push the trickle-down agenda. His writing on it is genuinely interesting and easy to read. Your major and what you do with it is more important than where you went to college. Yes and no. The problem with that thought is it ignores networking and nepotism. If I go to Harvard, I have all of that to work with. My professor probably knows someone famous in the industry, etc. Will my education be wildly different? Probably not. Will the people I can associate with be? Most definitely. A lot of people are addicted to posting whatever thing on Reddit. You don't have to be wrong for someone else to be right. Just because you are in the vocal minority it doesn't mean you are right. We're all pieces of chiz trying our best not to be. You guys are trying not to be. Chinese concentration camps. The fact that there are always people who have a worse day than you. Technically, if there are 7-8 billion people alive, then you have a 1 in 7-8 billion chance of having the worst day ever. If the average person lives about 78 years, then you will live about 28,470 days. And if you divide those numbers then we find out that about 1 in every 274,000 people will, at some point in their life, have the worst day of anyone on that day. I know this is probably really faulty math. I did this in like 5 minutes. All I'm trying to say is that somebody, every day, has the worst day of anybody on the planet. Thomas Edison only patented ideas. He didn't invent them. Just because I hate Trump doesn't mean I loved Obama and or Hillary. If you edit your comment to add thanks for the gold kind stranger, the kind stranger will probably never see that edit, but everybody else will, and will be annoyed. However, if you reply to the notification DM about the award, the kind stranger will see it for sure, and you would not bother anybody else. Most consumer goods are made by either slaves or by people earning a fraction of $1 a day. We have enough money and resources to lift them out of poverty, but then our phones and shoes won't be so cheap. Climate change. Good grades equals smart, bad grades equals dumb. Humanity is going to cease to exist at some point in the future. The fact that we use Arabic numerals. That we are all going to die someday. No matter how many body positive posts and movements start, being overweight still puts you at risk for numerous health problems. Your opinion is not more valid than a proven fact. Additionally, essentially has no allegiance but to the Chinese Communist Party, and his actions have shown that, when he was the health minister of Ethiopia, he kept very close ties with China. When he was just a candidate for Director General, China completely funded him. Now that the coronavirus is out, he isn't has been deferring to knowingly false reports from Chinese authorities whenever they say something isn't a big deal or is under control. Taiwan, despite having a population density 20x higher than the US, has managed to cap off their coronavirus cases below 400 to this day due to exemplary medical practices, but he rejected Taiwan's requests to participate in the WHO because it would offend China. When Taiwan questioned the validity of the WHO's existence, Basically, if they are not gonna give useful info, help other countries, or properly delegate resources, then why do they exist? China said that Taiwan was trying to leverage a crisis for international sovereignty, and Tedros falsely added that Taiwan is launching a racist campaign against him because he's black. He's a clown, and he needs to resign. The claims of a racist campaign are just false. There's no actually that can tweak it into correctness. It's just a bold-faced lie even if it was true. It's not. Who the duck cares? You're the leader of the World Health Organization during a global pandemic, and you're allotting time to bring attention to angry racists. Grow the duck up. The adults need to work. Meat, dairy, and eggs are not good for you. The Catholic Church is guilty of deep levels of systematic child abuse and child molestation that are still ongoing today. Bananas are berries. Edit. Originally misspelled as bananas. I'm not stupid, I promise. Also, why the duck does this have 200 upvotes? Apostrophes are never used in plurals. There's another commonly ignored one. That a high energy gamma ray burst can kill all life on Earth. And at any moment such thing could happen, and we will see it only when it arrives. Vaccines doesn't cause autism. The fact that we have anti-vaxxers is insane. Politicians aren't your friend or here for you, no matter which drum they are banging. Love is something you have to work for. Scientists are almost always the reason for an increase in the quality of life in any society. The human head weighs 8 pounds. Being overweight, obese, is not okay because it's not healthy, and the "I have a medical condition" excuse is bullshit. Condoms help to get rid of diseases and unwanted pregnancies. I think you mean prevent. Having good grades doesn't necessarily mean that you are smart. Quarantine would fix this if everyone ducking listened. Oh my, you watched until the end? That's ducking awesome, dude. Thanks for watching.